Tell us your name.
Daniel.
Nice to meet you, Daniel.
Nice to meet you.
What you do for work?
So I have a finance background. I worked at a real estate investment fund back home in Toronto, and I moved out here to join a startup.
What was your first job? What was your career started as?
Coming out of school?
Yes.
So I worked in a strategy corporate development role in the consumer goods space. I studied finance. I interned in a couple of finance internships, and then I did this similar thing coming out of school, and then moved to the real estate investment fund, and then moved to the tech startup now.
Awesome. One question as a career coach I get is what career they choose as a university graduate or going to studies. What made you choose finance as your career?
I didn't love science, so I liked numbers, I liked tangible things, I liked investments, I liked personally investing in my own time and just learning about the markets that way. And then when it comes to a startup, you're building something special. You're worked in a more corporate environment before, moved into this more hustle, more ownership environment that a startup brings. For me, it's kind of bringing the best of both worlds, my analytical background, but also just the hunger to build something here in Calgary.
That's the most honest answer, that you didn't like the science. People who are starting out, what would be your advice for them if they want to start in finance? What would be their best advice?
It's a competitive space, like other fields as well, whether it be medicine, whether it be law. I think finance is no different that way, where there's a lot of competition. You want to stand out. You want to have an authentic story, not just I want to do this because it sounds good or looks good on paper, but have some sort of personal background or attachment. For me, I liked real estate. I liked the fast-paced nature that finance brings. It's also very different than what my family does. So it's doing something different, searching for my own personal interest and just kind of selling that story from there. I would say just have a good story and stay up to date with current events and news, like show that you're actually up to date with that you just don't want to have a job for the sake of checking a box. I think that's very important when you're getting interviewed, when you're networking in tech.
That makes sense. What's your goal in terms of career for the couple of years coming up?
My goals in terms of my career, well, definitely see where this startup adventure goes. It's very fast-paced. Things change week to week, month to month. I'd want to continue down that path. Hopefully make an exciting Canadian success story here. That's part of the territory that comes with building a startup. And then eventually, longer term, I want to do something my own. I want to be an entrepreneur. I think I've always had that fire, always had that drive. And right now, a lot of the things I'm learning, I see as a way to learn the ropes and to eventually do that myself. But of course, first you got to start from somewhere. Having those mentorship figures, people who've been in the industry, it's very, very valuable right now as I'm building these foundational years of my career.
Awesome. If anybody want to be in touch with you, where they can find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, probably the best place to connect professionally. It's just Daniel, last name is Golubov, Goloubov. A little bit of a longer last name, but Daniel Golubov, you should find me on there. I'm based in Calgary. It shouldn't be too hard to find.
Thank you, Daniel. Thanks for sharing everything.
Take care.